Alright, customer complains that my cord's broke and my light is out. Let's take a look at what we're looking at. There's these two little guys right here. So something about wires that not many people really pay attention to or look at is there's something that gives these away. If you look very, very close, you'll notice on one wire, this one, where my pinky is, it has stripes going down. That is your voltage wire. That one should be your hot, your positive, your 120 volts line. And this guy right here, you'll notice how I don't think this guy has any literature on him, but if you look closely, there's nothing on him as to the other one does have stripes going down the side of it. This one is your load side. He is going back. He's your neutral side. So line and load. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over and above on this repair, and we are actually going to solder these together. When we make this repair, it's critical that we match up the there you can kind of see some of the words on that wire. That one is the neutral side, and on this one, this is the line side or voltage side. So it's imperative that we match these two up. Otherwise, what'll happen if you don't do that? What'll end up happening is it'll be backwards. So the socket on the sides, instead of being a neutral, will be hot. Now that's not a problem if you're running incandescents, but the issue with that is if you put like an LED, and it's like a dumb LED essentially, and it's sensitive. In other words, if this is backwards, you'll have someone that will go in and they won't be able to figure out why their LEDs aren't working. It's because the guy that repaired this made them backwards. So it's critical that this is done. It's not like that'll do that. Most LEDs have what's called a full bridge rectifier on the inside of the very own bulb, and if that's the case, I don't think it'll matter. I'd have to look at a schematic, but regardless, the point is you want to make sure these wires do match. Pay attention to the stripe and the verbiage. Alright, so this is I think it's 80 watts, 90 watt. Anyways, there's the numbers right there if you want to do the math yourself. But the point is, you always want to burn with a good soldering iron, especially like for doing just your basic stuff, because this sucker gets hot. If you get one that is smaller like this, which they do sell them, a lot of people have problems with them not getting hot enough. They don't get hot enough, you can't create a solder, you're cussing, then you're mad, and it's just a bad day. So it's a good idea to spend a couple extra bucks, and you can pick these up anywhere. So right now it's plugged in, it's not hot. As soon as I squeeze the trigger, it's hot. So that's the point. Now when I'm making these connections, set that up out of the way. It's another pro of getting one like this, is this guy will actually stay sitting straight up like that. So if you look down here, there's many different methods as far as soldering goes. But one way I do this is I will actually stick these together straight. Notice how the strands, try to get closer up on that. You'll notice how the strands are straight. And what I'll do is I'll actually shove them together like that. And once I basically shove them in like that, this is kind of hard to do, even I'm still trying to develop the technique of this. But the point is, you stick them in straight and you twist them like that. So something I failed to do just a moment now is actually failed to put these guys on. I don't care if you've been soldering for 5 years, 10 years, you're still going to have those days where you forget to put these on. So now what we have to do is, yeah, we already have our shrink wrap right here. Again, this is shrink wrap, is now you have to pull these apart because you didn't put these guys on. And notice how hard that was for me to pull apart. That's what you want. Go ahead. Alright, so this is what decent solder looks like. Not the best, but for what we're doing, it'll be just fine. So one thing you could do is you can literally just pull on it. Give it a good hard yank, and if it doesn't come apart, your solder is good. Alright, so now we want to shrink up this shrink tube. You can really use anything. My preference is a little torch with bottle of MAP. Propane would be just fine, or your average cigarette lighter would do just fine. All you got to do is you just got to get this stuff nice and hot. I just cracked the valve, trigger for spark. Now I have a flame. Let's watch it work. That's all it really takes. Then we're going to take this guy, we're going to slide him up over it. Here we go. Now we're going to hit the big guy. When it comes to these guys, MAP gas is really hot. There's a red bottle, and I don't think it quite burns as hot as MAP gas does. This is really overkill for what we're doing, but I like overkill. You notice how the flame went to the right and the left side of this. I didn't hit it directly. If I did, it would have started smoldering, and it wouldn't have been as pretty as it looks right here. Check that out. So this style is just a chain that feeds up the wire. Many different applications, but really when it comes to splicing these back together, looks like someone else had already taken them apart. That's fine. But now what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll basically squeeze them to where it looks right, looks better, and look like no one has ever even been in this. Now they do make a shrink wrap or shrink tube that is actually clear to match this. Black is actually all I had at the moment. So, alright, so wanted to share this with you for those of you who are a little out of the loop on what's an incandescent and what's an LED. These are incandescents. They have a little filament that bridges the gap between each post. This is more energy consumption. What I'm trying to say is LEDs are way more efficient. What LED stands for is light emitting diode. So these are incandescents, so even if I did solder it backwards, these would still work unless I did not get lucky by installing a dumb package of LEDs that only worked one way. So let's see what happens. Yay, it's fixed. Say it.
If you like, subscribe more videos.